Hey there, this is John McDavitt. I am the host of The Breakthrough Creative, where we talk about the art of business and the business of art. I have an incredible guest this morning. Her name is Kim Witte. She is a special effects makeup artist and body painter. She is a social media influencer. She has over 500,000 followers on TikTok. She's got over 30,000 followers on Instagram. And she has a bunch of followers on YouTube. She'll get into some of that in the interview. But I just want you to have a great time in this interview and let you know that the first part, it's two-parter. We had so much information. The first part is mostly her origin story, how she got started, and then we get into some of the social media type of information. And then part two is a little bit more the nitty-gritty of how she shoots, how she plans, and how she executes. And that'll be on next week. But that doesn't matter for right now because I want to introduce you to Miss Kim Witte. Here we go. So yeah, strange times, but we get to sit and talk about cool stuff.
Heck yeah, we do.
You are an amazing artist. I met Kim online on Instagram, essentially, before we were going to be speaking at a conference together. We were at C Conference, which is self-employment in the arts. It's for entrepreneurial artists. And Kim was actually there last year. I was there last year. We did not run into each other.
Somehow we didn't see each other, but that building was like a maze.
It was this, at the center of it, if you kept following this maze, you would have run into the Minotaur. It was there, I heard. You could hear it bellowing. But we did get a chance to connect before the actual conference this year, and we got to connect at the conference, which was very cool because we both share a love for special effects makeup, artistry involving makeup. And so I'm going to ask you, Kim, will you tell us what it is that you do?
Sure. So I am a special effects makeup artist that runs her own media company. So I make content on a variety of platforms to share makeup artistry, things about the industry, and teach people how to do it, and then also entertain in the space. So I share content on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Firework. There's probably a couple others in there, but essentially I teach, inspire, and educate.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. I think so. Maybe that's your new tagline. Do you need that to be under the name?
It's on something. I wrote it down somewhere. It's like inspire, educate, entertain. There it is. That's the one.
Well, the stuff you do is stellar and amazing. And like as amazing as the work that you do is just how you have branded yourself and how you have come across all these different platforms. Like you're all over it. And you have a crazy following. Like, what's your following?
On TikTok, I'm at like 425K.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
Instagram, I've kind of just been chilling at 32,000 at the moment.
Yeah.
YouTube, I think it's like 12,000 something. Facebook doesn't count. Nobody's on there. It's like almost 4,000.
Tell us, like how did this fascination with makeup, art, where did it all begin?
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story. First of all, I never wore makeup. I never had makeup. I never applied makeup, and I still don't wear makeup. So that's fun. But since I was little, I had this fun game with my neighbors. We called it the monster game. Very original, I know. But we had these spirals where we would draw pictures of our character and then give them a name and a type, which is like what animals mixed together they are to make their like appearance or their genetic makeup or whatever. Then they all had a quest. So that was like their goal in life or whatever in this fantasy world. And on the back of the page, it would do their birthday, birthplace, favorite color, weapons and abilities. And it was this really complex imagination game that I started when I was little, and then did for a large number of years with them, and developed this whole like universe. We even had a map system. We had like a whole belief system built into it. But anyway, I became obsessed with these characters, and I always wanted to make them more real, because in this game, when we were little, they were real. You're being them. Your friends understand. You're all pretending together. You're acting together. But then as an adult, to random people in the world, they can't connect with the character unless if they see the character. So I started drawing. I've been drawing since I was little. I wasn't very good. I haven't been very good at anything other than trying hard, I suppose. But I started with drawing them, and then me explaining it in story form was always more detailed than my art skill. So I switched to writing. And I would go back and forth between writing and drawing, whichever one was better. Until I got to high school, at like the end of high school, and I saw the show Face Off, and I was like, oh, this is a job. I could do this. I didn't know this was a thing. But at the very least, I was like, this is really exciting. I could become a character, and then I could show them and be them at the same time. And I love acting, so that just kind of mixed in there. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a doctor or an artist, because I'm like obsessed with anatomy and bones and everything and all this other stuff, and I'm good at it. But went to college, just a general college where both were kind of an option, although they didn't have makeup, but they had art. And I wanted to find a place to start, because I did a bunch of Googling on special effects makeup, and essentially you need a crap ton of money to create monsters. The silicone, the molds, the clay, the large studio, ventilation, all this other stuff. And I'm just like, wow, apparently I can't do this unless if I go to a school or something. And then I met this nice lady. What was her name? She worked at the ticket booth in the art building at Whitewater. And she just told me about this haunted house I should go check out. So I went to the haunted house and decided to apply as an actor, or actress technically, because I wanted to get on the in crowd with the makeup artists, thinking that that was a large hurdle to overcome. I didn't know what the standard was for haunted houses, but I was like, these amazing makeup artists, that I got to get in with. So I tried out as a scare actor and actually scared the boss. So he hired me on the spot, and I worked there. And
how did you achieve the scare of the boss?
So we had scare practice, which was essentially you show up and do all these monster exercises, which were really fun, with all this like voice chanting and stuff. But they would take you through the house. This place is one of the #1 haunted houses in the nation. It ended this year. This was its last year. It was a 20-year thing. But they took you through with the newbies that were trying out into each style of location to see, #1, if they would hire you, and #2, what location you'd be best in. Because there's scare boxes, which is when you're in some sort of mechanism that you're hidden, and then you interact briefly, and then you're hidden again. And then there's a room, which you can be a scare actor in a room where you can interact in a large space.
Yeah.
Then there's the queue line, which is the talking, interacting with the public constantly in line. And I think there's like one other type of spot, but I don't remember what it was. But anyway, the first thing for the acting was the scare box, and which is essentially if you can make loud noises, you'll probably be fine. But I got shoved in like a scare box, and they were like shuffling across the room, and they go back and forth, and you have to work on timing, because it's all about timing. And I was just like, hey, I'll go on the little box, okay. And she's like, okay, so you ready? You need some lines? I'm like, I got this. And she's like, you need lines? I'm like, I got this. And they walked by, and it was in like a carnival, and I like swung it open and then flung myself forward, and I had like this really loud, clowny, creepy gruffly, it'll probably blow out the speakers if I do it. But I was just like, come on, get over here. Come on. I got tickets to see the show. It only costs like an arm or a limb or whatever. But I did it in like this really aggressive sounding loud voice while I slammed on the front of this wooden box and got in their face. And he just goes, because he wasn't expecting it, because all these people on their first go were really timid.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, he's like, how long? You've never done this before? I'm like, nope, never. Nope. And he's like, do it again. And then
that woman, she's a natural.
Yeah, he sent them in like broken up pods, so I had to open it, close it, open it, close it, open it, close it, and like do all this crazy stuff. But yeah, so that was fun. But at that place, they had a makeup trailer, which was a really cool experience. It was really crowded, and they had counters that had air tubes through them. So the makeup artist had airbrushes for the base.
Yeah.
On one side, there were like 2 or 3 airbrush artists, and then the other side were the face painter people with like the brushes and stuff. And I would just
they'd airbrush the base, and then they'd do the details with the paintbrushes.
Yeah, and there was 2 different teams. So I could only learn so much from them. But there was this one guy named Kyle who was in the detail artist, and he was actually using makeup. So I stuck with him because I know you're not supposed to put paint on your skin, even though I wasn't a makeup artist. I knew you're not supposed to do that. And I asked him all these questions, and he recommended that I get a wolf palette. He's like, they're only like $20 and they last forever. Like, okay. So I got a wolf palette for Christmas. My mom actually got it for me in like 2012 or something. I still have it. And then I just started painting on myself. And there wasn't this barrier that comes with being an artist at an art school. Like, by this time, I was just starting college. I knew how to draw very well. I was good at drawing. Obviously, I grew a lot through the art school, but when you're an adult and you're doing an art form and you're an artist already, there's a lot of negative stigma at sucking at it in the beginning. But with face painting, I didn't know anybody that did it. So there wasn't like, oh, wow, that's really bad, or any of that negative input. And then on top of that, I found it really easy because I didn't have to draw the picture before painting it. Because I was really bad at painting. Painting was my weak link.
And when you say painting, you mean like painting 2D? Painting
on a canvas. Yeah. I couldn't do it. I was trash at it. Everything would turn into like a cakey, thick mess of flat color. I didn't know what I was doing. So I started with face painting, and I would do it on myself. I would do it on Kristen, and I would do it on Hannah, and I would do it on anybody else that would sit still for longer than a half an hour, which usually was just me or Kristen. I did it on Shanna. I did it on a couple other people. But I just kept practicing at it, and over time, I got to a point where I wasn't terrible at it, and I felt like good enough to try to push it professionally, to start a portfolio of sorts, I suppose. But at that haunted house, I think the 3rd year I was there, I met my previous business partner, and he saw a lot of potential in what I was doing, and he was a professional photographer. So we decided to tag team and started WitteArtistry together and grew everything that way. Originally started all of the social media, and then he pieced out, and then I had to figure out how to do it by myself, which was a major struggle because I'm not a videographer or a photographer or any of that other stuff. So I had to figure it out. And now I'm good at those things to an acceptable level to keep the company going. So
tell me, let's go back to, you did the haunted house, you got in there, you're an actor, and you're enamored with makeup, and you're learning a bit about makeup as you're going along. So you kind of fell in love with doing makeup, in the midst of all of that. And it was something like the thread that I'm seeing is you love to create characters when you were a kid, and the imagination behind all of that led you into this kind of an interest in acting and creating characters for the acting.
Yeah.
You know, and so while maybe 2D art wasn't your thing, you found this kind of place in 3D painting on somebody's face that became your niche. That was your sweet spot.
Yeah, pretty much. I do 2D painting as well, because once I got to a certain point with the face painting, I was good at painting because I had practiced so much just on my face. I was like, wow, I can paint on canvases now. And I did advanced painting in college, and that was one of the few professors that actually deserves this job, and he was really helpful. And then I decided to make my own curriculum at the school because they were so not good that I decided to do all the paperwork to make my own thing.
So was that your fourth year then? Your senior year you did that, or?
Sophomore, junior, and senior, and then the second semester of senior. I did 4 years and 1 extra semester because I couldn't fit everything in all compact. But it was kind of just a large combination of things to get the skills. Greg taught me a lot about painting. He was my painting instructor there, but that was after I had already done 2.5 years of obsessive face painting on myself and other people. So I was at least to a point that I understood color and like blocking color and some blending, whereas before that my painting was essentially a really bad paint by number. Like if paint by numbers had giant blobs of color, that was my like painting. Like, oh, it's a person, well, they're peach. Oh, it's a tree, it's green. Like I still have some of the paintings I did in high school that I thought were good. Like they were good for my painting level. And I cringed thinking that my ex-boyfriend in high school's mom has this giant painting of Travis that I did that was good for me at the time, but it's so bad. And because it's like of her son, she probably still has it. I'm just like, Heidi, no.
She treasures it. She treasures it. It'll be worth billions one day.
Look at what Kim was terrible at a long time ago.
So you had your college experience, and that was kind of you made it your own. And was it a good experience? No, not so much.
The debt was worth meeting Dan and Kristen.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kristen was my roommate the entire time I was there, except she graduated on time and I didn't. So I had 1 extra semester where I didn't have Kristen, which was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And then Dan was there for the first 2 years that I was there. So, and if I wouldn't have gone there, I probably wouldn't have ended up at that particular haunted house.
Right.
But I think I still would have ended up in the same place. It just would have taken a lot longer, and I wouldn't have met my business partner, which everything would have just taken a lot longer. But the painting instructor in the painting room and the sculpting instructor and the sculpting room was amazing.
Yeah.
The sculpting lab. Yeah.
It's you just got to find the right people at the place. And if they're not there, then you got to go somewhere else or you got to figure it out. But man, teachers make a difference, don't they? They make a difference both ways.
Yeah. Just kind of taught myself, honestly, except with the sculpt lab and the paint lab.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I firmly believe in is a skill that everybody should work at, no matter whether you're an artist or something different, is learning how to learn. If you can figure out
how you learn
a process, right? And it's probably similar in some ways for everybody, but it can be very different for other people. If you can figure out your way, because there's not just one way. If you can figure it out, you're like 90% of the way there.
For sure. That was something that I got really lucky at. I was bad at everything and had a really hard time at school, but I knew how to be organized and I knew how to try, and then I would just keep trying, and eventually I didn't suck at all the classes. And I knew how to study, and I would have to study for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I knew how to maximize my time because I was good at organizing. So I did really well and then graduated. And then in college, I knew so many people that are like, I don't know how to study. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And then they end up like failing or getting not so good scores. And I'm like, how do you not know how to study? And then everybody was saying like, oh, I didn't have to think until I graduated. Like, I already knew it. I didn't need to study. I read it once and I remembered it. I'm like, how? Teach me your ways. But in the long run, I got lucky because nothing in school matters except the skills that you learn. So
yeah, and I would say for you, I don't think it's luck at all. I think so much of what you've done has been intent and intentional, and then opportunity comes by, and you reach out and you grab the opportunity, and you're ready for it. And what I love that you've said is, and I totally agree with this too, is that you didn't say this exactly, and you can tell me if you agree with it or not, but your process has been, you just know that you're not going to be good at something, and you might be bad at it before you're good.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think a gift in the midst of that is if you, because I'll speak for me. I've been around people that draw something, like when I was in high school, and they'd be like, this is really good. And I could see that it wasn't. It didn't mean I was better than them, but I could see they weren't quite there. And they couldn't see it. Like, they were like, yeah, this is the best. And it wasn't satisfying for me. And I said to myself, I don't want to end there. Like, I want to keep going. And if you can see the gap between where you're at and where you want to go to, it's almost like being at the base of a mountain and you're looking and you go, I want to get to there. How am I going to get to there? Like, I've got some ropes and I can put some stones down, and I got this old ladder, and you kind of start making your way up. And at times in the middle of it, you get exasperated and you're like, I'm going to camp here for a year because I'm really frustrated. And then you go, but wait, I still want to get there. I'm not where I want to be. And then eventually you make it there, but it takes patience, it takes intention, and it takes hard work.
Yeah. Patience and practice. That's what I say. Whenever people comment on my videos all the time, how, and I'm like, I either respond, I have tutorials on my YouTube channel that you can watch if you want to know how. And then they usually reply with like, no, but how do you do that? And I go, paint, practice, and patience.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah. It can be painful to wait, right? To be in between and go, oh, but I want to be there. But
yeah, but that's the thing though, is you got to be absorbed in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to have self-awareness to know that like someone's art is further along than yours is, and you're further along than other people's. But if you make something that you put your heart into, you need to be comfortable celebrating that victory and being like, wow, this is my greatest work, and then being proud of it, and not being bummed if you post it and 5 people say it sucks, or they're like, yeah, but look at this artist did this thing and it's so much better. And it's like, cool, but how long have they been doing it? They have 25 years on me and a crew, or like whatever. So just comparing like my work from 2 years ago to now.
Yeah.
Because when I started my business, I think it was technically 3 years ago.
Okay.
When I started my Instagram and stuff. If you scroll back, it's not bad. It's just not great. So people are so worried about what other people will think that they're like, I can't start that. I can't post that. It's not perfect. It's not up to the standards of what I believe I'm capable of. It's like, yeah, but content. You gotta make content production at scale. And I didn't understand that in the beginning, which I do so profoundly understand now. But I was posting everything that I was proud of, and the stuff that I was like, it's okay. Like my Cheshire cat, I hate so much, but I posted it. My Mewtwo, I hate it, but I posted it. Like 26,000 views is 26,000 views, even if they're hate views. Like,
it's funny, right? You mentioned a really powerful word, and it pushes people far to the left, and it pushes people far to the right, and it's perfection. That's such a loaded word. How did you get past that? How did you get past your stuff not being perfect?
So it had a lot to do with the mentoring I was receiving from my previous business partner.
Okay.
He was talking about in order to make art into a business, you got to do 90 and go. 90 and go. Not 120%, but 90 and go. You put it up to a level that you're proud of it and displays your skills, and you're not going to be embarrassed about it in the future because you tried, but you're not spending the extra 4 or 5 hours tweaking things that only you will notice. So the more I did that and the more I thought about it and the more I've progressed as a person, that's very true. I'm very detail oriented, and lots of the stuff that I do, nobody will even notice that it exists. So it's difficult to not take things to the level that you want, but it sure is a lot easier when it's on your skin. You only have the ability to be in it for so long. You need to sleep. You need to shower. So like, honestly, if you want to get over being a perfectionist, paint on yourself.
That's awesome advice. I'm like scrolling way back into your archives. And
yeah.
I just came across your Cheshire cat, which is great. I know you don't like it, but
it's bad, but it's okay. It was okay then, and I knew it was okay then. Sometimes you make something, you're like, this was amazing, and then other times you're like, I tried, but it's not worth washing off, because sometimes it just doesn't work at all. Like, this is a paint spill, let's wash this off. But sometimes it's just like, I just accept that it's not my favorite thing, and I work on it and edit it and post it anyway, because that's just what you got to do.
And move on, right? You learned, it's time to go to the next one. So tell me this. Tell me this. Tell me about the start then of your business. How did you started your Instagram account? You started YouTube. What did you start first, and what was the plan, and how did you execute it?
Yeah, so before I started my business, I had a Facebook page. I was one of the few people in my interactions with people that actually made their own separate art page and made a business page for their art. I had been posting on there consistently about 1.5 years prior to even thinking about starting a business. So that was the first platform, was Facebook. People would see your posts. I had a really small following, but the large majority of the people that were following me could see my art. So I posted all of my drawings and my paintings and my sculptures and my whatever else I was doing on there, built that up. And then with the beginning of the business, we would do launch strategies. So we started with Facebook, and we were going to start with Instagram was the next one to go to, because it's a visual-based platform that allows photos and videos. So we're going to use Facebook to advertise a countdown to Instagram launch. I think it was like 28 days or 32 days or whatever, however long that month was. And I developed a bunch of artwork to post on Instagram. And on Facebook, I had to create other unique content. So essentially, if I had 18 days to launch, I would make 18 pieces of content. I post one a day. And the first line of the post every time was 18 days to Instagram launch at WitteArtistry picture. And I did that for however many days on Facebook. And then on the day that was the end day, Instagram happened. I had the page available, but there was no content on it. And then so day one, started Instagram. And I think Instagram was immediately countdown to launch for YouTube because we wanted Instagram and YouTube to be together. So I'm pretty sure on day 1 or something, or maybe day 2, the second post is like 30 days to YouTube launch or something. So then as the Instagram was growing, we had people coming over for Facebook because they were super pumped about it, been advertising it, and they know me personally. So they came over, and then building Instagram. Now we're gathering bigger amounts of people, and then they're getting prepped and hyped for the YouTube launch. So that was the strategy. It worked incredibly well, like really, really well. And that was right before Instagram choked out their algorithm really hard. So I went from no followers to like 1,000 followers in the first, I'd say like 6 months. But I was also spending 2 to 4 hours a day grinding on Instagram, liking, commenting, sharing, reposting, tagging, and all this other crap.
So you worked hard for those follows. You earned those, yeah.
I would walk on a treadmill and I would like stuff. And I would get blocked a lot because I was moving too fast that the app thought I was a robot.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have multiple devices I would do it on, and I had to watch my speed and randomize my patterns. And then I would grind on certain hashtags and then follow people, unfollow people, or follow people and keep liking their stuff. It was intense. And then after those first 30 days, that's when the YouTube launched. And we actually had like a really successful first day YouTube launch, because this is now I'm in college. I've been talking about it for a while. I actually executed so people could follow through. And like within the first 30 minutes of posting on YouTube, we went to like 400 subscribers, which is very impressive on a brand new baby channel. And I just kept going from there. And then I took things over by myself and have made decisions on what to hype up on, what to take back on. Now I've incorporated vertical video as a massive part of my business because it's what matters now. It's what people care about. And I get to act. So that's really fun for me because that's like one of my favorite things.
What did you call it? You called it what video?
Vertical video.
And what does that mean?
It's in vertical orientation.
Oh, okay.
So right now we have horizontal orientation. This video, as right now, once it's recorded, you can post it on YouTube. YouTube is a horizontal platform.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is a horizontal platform. It's a specific ratio.
Yeah.
Instagram has a 1-to-1 ratio. It's the only thing out there that does that.
Yeah.
And then TikTok, Firework, Instagram stories, Snapchat, all of those things are vertical video.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way it's going, it's vertical.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
TikTok is now the #1 downloaded app in the world.
Yeah.
It holds all of the market. Instagram is desperately trying to copy them or do something that brings some of their users back. Yeah, vertical video is the way to go.
Okay. So how did you come up with your launch plan? Where did that come from? To like start on Facebook, build that up, launch on Instagram, build that up, and then launch on YouTube?
Technically for my partner, he had already done a business with another talent for YouTube. It was a YouTube-based business. And from that experience, he learned a lot of things he wanted to do again, do more powerfully or not do.
Yeah.
And then we would have these meetings where he would teach me all of those things and I would write them down. And then I'm good at brainstorming, so I would brainstorm new ideas, and eventually we picked a couple of things to focus on. Instagram was one of them. It was like the place to be. They had missed that ship. That ship had sailed for the other business. So that was something we really wanted to focus on. And then YouTube, out of all of them, is the hardest to get established on. Mm-hmm. And has the most super fan value. You can have super fans on anything else, but if someone's willing to sit there and watch you do something for like 15 minutes, mm-hmm. that's a lot different than someone's willing to go tap, tap on your image. So.
Right. One's almost a relationship.
They're
right?
all a relationship.
But one is like, it's more intense. Because tap, tap is, hey, how are you? Yeah, I'm following you. Cool beans. I said a word. But to sit and watch somebody, it's not two-way, right? But it's like they're engaged in what you're saying on YouTube and they'll stay. That's big. And that's big for YouTube. That's big numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's the second largest search engine.
Yeah.
YouTube is, because Google bought it.
So tell me now, so you've figured out how to launch, and then you've like figured out SEO and how to grow an audience. Like tell me about that journey. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was a combination of recommendations from my business partner, me researching, and me digging in and going hard and paying attention. Mm-hmm. So in the very beginning, my partner had coached me on being authentic, being yourself, not hiding anything from the camera, talking to the camera like it's a person, because it is, even if you can't see the person.
Right.
And not being afraid to be yourself. And that was really important. So I tried to do that as much as I could in the beginning. It was really awkward in my oldest YouTube videos, but that's okay.
Got to start somewhere, right? Not
you
perfect.
have to start somewhere. I was so bad at voiceovers. Voiceovers were the bane of my existence. So like I could get in front of the camera and film a makeup tutorial, and then I would do the intros and the outros, and it might take me 14 takes to do an intro and an outro, but I did it. But the moment I got the stupid recorder for the audio to do the voiceover, the video is only 8 minutes long, and the takes literally would be 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Of me attempting to talk over the video. Oh gosh.
Well, it's a skill. Angry. It's a skill, right? You've got to learn your skill.
Yeah. And then in the beginning, I was told like, one day you'll be able to do it in one take. And I'm like, no, never. And now I can do it in one take. So big difference. But as for the SEO and whatever, I became obsessed with Instagram. I dove deep. I ground on it. I paid attention. If you read comments, you read people's hashtags, you study people and how they perform, you understand the platform pretty well. And I just did that every day, twice a day, for a total of an hour or 2 hours, sometimes 4 hours. Try to keep it to 2 hours. And you just learn how it works, because each social media is a culture that you have to treat with respect inside the culture. So on Facebook, stuff that's very soccer mommy, I guess is the best way that I can describe it. Soccer mommy posts, that'll do really well. And I could take my artwork that I did in general and then change the way I would write something, and now it's Facebook appropriate. And then Instagram has a very different culture that's very magazine-y, so art magazines, that kind of vibe. So it's all like sparkles and high quality and in your face and unique, and stuff coming out of your mouth and things like growing out of your eyeballs and like just all this weird stuff. And the culture on Instagram is very clicky, but like not an unhealthy way, but like the hey girl, how you doing, hey boo, and like all this stuff. Like I don't behave or speak that way in person, but like on Instagram it's totally normal. So that's appropriate on Instagram, but it's not on Facebook.
So you've learned dialects. You've learned social media dialects.
Yeah, it's a language that you have to study and learn, and how to behave and how to reply to people. Because in the beginning I was really off-put. I'm like, why does everybody keep sending me kissy faces and calling me babe and like all this stuff? And I thought that like Instagram was just this place full of like weird predators in the beginning. Because that's like, who goes like, hey babe, how you doing, to everybody they know?
Right.
I thought it was really weird. And then I realized that was normal. And I was like, oh, okay. glad to know that all the people on this aren't insane. And then on YouTube, it's totally different. Whereas like on YouTube, anything goes, but you must be consistent. So like you could be a YouTuber that's really energetic, up in everybody's faces all the time, cussing up a storm, drinking alcohol and doing all this stuff. And it's totally acceptable. And then on another platform, on another page, people have grown to expect like calm and serenity and ASMR and like all this other stuff. So whatever audience you cultivate is the way that you behave on YouTube, which is why you want to be yourself, because you can't be a character. It's exhausting. It's just exhausting. You can't pretend to be someone you're not in the long term, especially for your own mental health. It's just very bad for you. And then Tic Toc culture is, it's kind of like YouTube, that everything goes, and you'll bring in an audience that likes your style or whatever. But the delivery is what's incredibly different on TikTok. So TikTok is really audio based. So if I play a rock and roll song to you, 15 seconds of a rock and roll song, we're both thinking the same thing because we've heard the song before and the lyrics mean something. On TikTok, they take that and then put it in a video with actors and actresses and completely change the context. So the audio now triggers a different reaction because now you think of some weird college-related skit when the song originally was about something completely different. And then they take that again and then do it again with different subject matter and then completely change the context, which is like a meme, but in audio form.
Right.
So TikTok's really unique in that space. And then in general, the delivery, if you can have really creative delivery that's short and compact and impactful, that's what's going to do the best on TikTok.
Awesome. You've that's hard-won information by you experientially, right? You've really earned that. You've climbed that mountain we were talking about.
That was awesome. And I think my biggest takeaway from Kim in this interview is not giving up, keep trying. You're doing something that you really love and you're aiming for success. But she just didn't have like one goal in mind. Kim is all about systems. She's all about organization and having a plan to roll out. And I think as creatives, that sometimes we shoot too much from the hip. Maybe I'm being generous by saying sometimes. And of course, this isn't all of you. We all have different skill sets. But she certainly has an administrative skill gift set. And it seems to be natural for her. But she had to do a workaround, right? Because she was struggling with school. She didn't feel like she was good at anything. But what she had control over was how she organized her time and her schedule, how she could plan her attack really to succeed, and she knew that she could keep trying. She tried, and I think that is awesome. I mean, that's just an amazing testimony to how she has achieved the success that she's achieved so far. So don't forget, we're going to have a part 2, gets more into her shooting schedule, SEO. We talk a little bit about charging and finances and money and making a living as an artist. So with that being said, I'm so glad you've been with us. I'm John McDavitt for The Breakthrough Creative, where we talk about the art of business and the business of art. Have a great week.